Welcome to this preview of Standard 3. In this video, I hope to give you a little overview of our next three videos, Standards 3A, 3B, and 3C, and give you a little introduction into the material that it's going to cover. The Protestant Reformation, it refers to a religious dispute that occurs in Europe in the early 1500s, around the time Mona Lisa is painted just a few years afterwards. And this religious dispute is going to shatter what had been unified Christianity in Western Europe. If you met two people in Western Europe, say England, France, Spain, in 1500, and you knew they were Christian, you pretty much knew their religious beliefs. By the end of the 1500s, that's not going to be the case. Christians are going to splinter into many different groups, and we're going to look in Standard 3 at the reasons for that split, the people involved in that split, and the effects of that split. To give a little sense of what we're referring to here, this is a map of Europe in 1200. I was actually looking for one a little bit later than that, but this was the best I can find. The yellow on our map shows what was referred to as Western Christianity or Roman Christians coming out of the Roman Empire. In your World One class, remember that the Roman Empire at some point establishes Christianity as the official religion of the empire, and through the Romans, Christianity is spread throughout the lands governed by Rome. And even after the fall of the Romans, Christianity remained as the main power, as the social, the economic, the political power throughout Western Europe. We see it wasn't the only religion, the only power. We see in 1200 here, the south of Spain, south of Portugal, had large influence from the Muslim world. A little bit later, by 1500, our Byzantine Empire, the Ottoman Turks would have taken over, and this would have been pink as well. Islam coming up into southeastern Europe in 1200. It would have been one of the other Christian divisions, which were the Orthodox. You may remember from your World One class the Great Schism, which resulted in the formation of the Orthodox religions, represented here in the green. Okay, and again, pink here representing some Muslim areas as well. But the idea we're focusing on here is that France, the Holy Roman Empire, what's now largely Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, down into what's now Italy, this bit of East Central Europe into the British Isles, these areas were under the same Christianity. Okay, they were unified in the same Christian belief. By the end of the 1500s, we're going to see a lot more color introduced onto this map as this yellow area begins to splinter into many different groups of Christians. Okay, the Protestant Reformation, if we take a look at the words themselves, people who describe themselves as Protestant, or if you've heard the word Protestant, at its root is the word protest. Okay, these were the protesters who were unhappy with various aspects of Christianity as they saw it in 1500. There had been disputes and arguments before, but by the 1500s, the Renaissance had created this new atmosphere in which people were more challenging of authority than they had been before. You had merchants who had wealth that they hadn't had before. You had new educated classes of people, and they felt more empowered to speak out about things that they disagreed with. So we want to keep that word protest in mind. And our word reformation, we're really looking at the word reform, just the same as protesters today. You might see protesters standing outside the Capitol or the White House with signs, and they're chanting and they're singing and they're making demands. They're hoping to bring about reforms or changes and things that they want to see done. Okay, so we're really looking at people who are protesting and hoping to bring about reforms. I find for students who aren't of this religious background, students who aren't of any religious background, and even students who are of a Christian background, I find this is something that sometimes takes a little bit of time to get our heads around. I found this graphic here, which I'm hoping will explain this graphically and visually. If we think of Christianity as this tree, okay, so the whole tree, all the words on this tree refer to Christianity. The different branches on the tree refer to different denominations, different groups within Christianity. They're all Christian. If you ask these people, regardless of whether they're Greek Orthodox or Anglican or Catholic or Quaker, they're going to describe a lot of similar things. We could use another religion, say like Islam, and we have divisions within Islam of Sunni and Shia, or within Judaism, Reform, Orthodox, and Conservative Jews. All of those groups are going to describe a lot of the same things about the religions, but there's that 5, 10, 15% of the religion that causes them to have their own group within the religion. So if we think of this tree as a timeline, if we start down here, and let's make this, say, around the year 1 AD, we have this tree begin to grow. Okay, and Jesus, the founder of Christianity, plants that seed, and from its early days, Christianity begins to develop as a unified religion. Any group of Christians were pretty much the same as any other group of Christians. Around the year 1000, you had the Great Schism, okay, which led to the splintering of Christianity into the Orthodox religions, Russian, Greek Orthodox, for example. They, percentage-wise, were a relatively small percentage of Christianity, though. The majority of Christians were still in the trunk of the tree. They were still on board religiously the same. The big split that's going to occur, so that's this group here, the Orthodox Christians here surrounded by the yellow. Okay, as you can see, most Christians are still on the same branch. What we're looking at here in Standard 3 is this big splintering in the red. Okay, in 1517, a guy named Martin Luther is going to take actions, which we'll discuss in Standard 3A, that's going to cause Western Christianity to split into all of these different branches, or begin the process of splitting into all of these different branches. And so what we have today are really 3 different groups of Christians. Okay, we see, if we have 3 people who describe themselves as Christian, we can't assume that all 3 of them are the same. Roughly 12% of them will be in this yellow area here. Okay, they'll be the Orthodox Christians. They split off during your World I course. We're mainly concerned in Standard 3 here with the formation of all this here. Okay, the reason why Christianity kind of explodes into all of these different branches. And those are the 37% of Christians today who describe themselves as Protestants. Okay, if you ask most Protestants what religion they are, they're probably not going to say Protestant. They'll probably give you a more specific answer like Baptist, Presbyterian, Anglican, Methodist, any of these names circled in red. The largest single branch, okay, and the branch that stays going this way after 1517 are the Catholics. And worldwide, Catholics do make up the biggest proportion of Christians today. Roughly half of the tree. This really wouldn't be to scale our tree. It looks like just the one branch. But this branch here, the Catholics, they're still the largest group within Christianity worldwide. But we're really looking into the Standard 3 as to why did this happen? Why did Christianity face this fork in the road? And Catholics go this way, and the Protestants go this way. And then within that question, why did the Protestants continue dividing into all of these different groups. As you drive around town on a Sunday morning, think about all the different religious buildings that you see, and you see that word church on quite a few religious buildings. The thought might occur, why aren't all Christians in the same church? This is really what we're going to be looking at. Why did this divide happen? Okay. As we started off our preview here, this was our map in 1200, about 300 years before the Reformation. As we're going to see, the Reformation is going to introduce a whole lot more color onto this map. I was looking for a map that actually kept the same color scheme. The yellow on this map is going to be the dark green on this map. So these areas here are going to be the Catholic areas. By 1500, the Muslim population of Spain had largely been pushed back into North Africa. We do see the Ottoman Empire spreading Islam into southeastern Europe. But most of this area here, Italy, Spain, Portugal, France, those are going to be Catholic areas. All the other colors here, we see the purple representing religions founded by a guy named John Calvin. We're going to see the pinks up in here representing religion founded by a guy named Martin Luther, as we mentioned, the guy who starts the Protestant Reformation. We're going to meet a guy named Henry VIII, the King of England in the 1500s, who's going to start his own religion for England. One of the things we're going to see in this as we go through, we'll go through the reasons for our religious disagreements. What were the causes? Again, for people who are religious, we're not arguing over favorite football team. We're not arguing over favorite color, favorite ice cream flavor. For people who are religious, even minor disagreements can be cause for big disputes. So we'll see what were the reasons for the religious disagreements. Who were these protesters and reformers? We've mentioned some of them already: Luther, Calvin, Henry VIII. In Standard 3B, we'll take a look at the effects of this. As we mentioned, even minor disputes over religion can have big consequences. We're going to see a lot of bloodshed. We're going to see a lot of warfare in Standard 3B. And the Catholic Church's response. The Catholic Church, who had been the main power in Europe since the end of the Roman Empire, they're not just going to roll over and say, this was fun being the main power, now we'll let somebody else. They're going to hold on to as much power as they can. And then the role the technology plays. A new technology called the printing press comes along. And that's going to play a major role in the spread of this Reformation. So that's pretty much our preview. We just wanted to give kind of a sense of where we're going here in Standard 3. And that's about it.